This is becoming a bit of a theme, Rube. This is a win for the Eagles, but still plenty to complain about for the next week.
Yeah, they still haven't put together a complete game, a 60-minute game, and you'd love to see what it looks like when they do, or if they do. I think they will. I think to not play a complete game and be sitting here at 4-0 is impressive, but you just think that at some point they're gonna have to play better.
You would think so, but who knows? I mean, they're 4-0 right now. They did enough in this game. They built that lead in the first half. They were able to hold on to it in the second half. They end up winning this one 31-25. That includes the last second safety. Good situational football by Nick Sirianni. He'll be proud about that one. Uh, we can start from a big
Killed the
picture.
stats, though, killed their rushing stats.
It did a little bit, but it was
34-yard loss doesn't help the
it
numbers.
was the right play for
It was.
sure. Where do you want to start? I mean, a big picture, they left Tampa a year ago 2-2 with like a ton to work on. We like the fact that they left 2-2 and they went on to win the Super Bowl, and no one was even thinking Super Bowl at that point. It was, man, how can they even be a good team? They leave Tampa this year.
And that 2-2 was following, not a great ending to the previous year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they were 2-2 last year, week 4. They're 4-0 right now. And yes, I know that there are a lot of things that are not going well. The offense in the second half was about as bad as it could possibly be. But yeah, there's like two ways you can look at it. One is like, yeah, they're probably not going to win a ton of games like this, but then again, they are.
That's an interesting statement, but I agree with you, even though I'm not sure what it means. But yeah, they haven't. I mean, all 4 wins have been close. All 4 wins have been kind of holding your breath at the end of the game. All 4 wins have been half of my obs are deleted as soon as the game ends. There is something about this team. Look, you don't get to 4-0 without being really, really good at winning football games, and when you don't play well, and that's what they've been doing. And I thought the defense in the second half, like the numbers weren't great. They gave up a ton of yards and they gave a bunch of points, but they made some really clutch plays in key moments of this game. And that's really what they've done in all 4 wins. None of them have been those, the 35-10s or 27-6. They've all been close to the vest, close games, coming down to the wire, and they've made a play, whether it's a takeaway or a fourth down stop or an offensive play at the end of the game. They seem to find a way to win. Now, is it sustainable? Like you said, maybe it is. And I think they're just going to get better. Look, they have some young players in key roles who are, I mean, you look at Jahad Campbell, this is his 4th game of his career. And the place he's only going to get better. Andrew McCoob is only going to get better, made a rookie mistake. So I think that they're going to figure out a way to run the ball. They've got an elite running back. I have to feel like they're going to figure something out there. All the things I have to feel like they're going to find a way to get pressure or to get sacks. Got a couple takeaways. That was good to see, but the things that they haven't done well enough, I feel like a lot of them they have a chance to be good at by the middle of the season.
Yeah, that's the good news. On the other side, that's like part of the frustration because offensively, it should not look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm talking basically defense, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's start with the offense in this game because the first half, it's like, oh man, they're super efficient. They figured things out. It was nice they got up 7-0 without stepping foot on the football field at first. That nice block field or block punt by Cam Latu, scoop and score from Sidney Brown. But the Eagles get on the field and they're moving the football. Everything seems to be working. Jalen Hurts completes 15 of 16 passes in the first half. They look great against the blitz.
2 touchdowns.
He doesn't complete another pass the rest of the way.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen a bigger disparity between offense in the first and second half. Sometimes you see, I mean, like we saw last week, they didn't do anything in the first half, but then I think you see it the other way more often. It just seemed like, especially coming on the heels of the second half last week, that they had found something. They put together consecutive 2 consecutive halves of really sharp-looking offensive football. Um, they were creative. I really like some of those red zone calls today. In the first half, I didn't get to the red zone in the second half, but no, I guess they did. But uh, yeah, I thought the offense finally, and I'm thinking, all right, Kevin Patullo's finally got a real sense of what everyone can do. He's still new at this. He's getting into a rhythm. Uh, and then it just fell to pieces in the second half. And I thought they got back to being predictable, running on first down. And look, that's a good defense in Tampa. And I mean, that's a really good team. So to beat them, it's a good win. But I mean, they had -1 total yard in the second half, including the intentional safety, but they still only would have had 33 if you don't count that play. Jalen didn't complete a pass, like you said. Um, I don't understand why. I don't. I think it starts. I don't think the O line is as good as it used to be, and I'm not sure exactly. Obviously, Lane not being there doesn't help. Tyler Steen showed a lot of toughness coming back. He's not quite as good as Mekhi Becton. He just isn't. I think Landon Dickerson is not 100%. I'm not sure. He might not even be close to 100%. So that's 60% of the O-line that I think is dealing with stuff right now, and they don't really have any options. I mean, Matt Pryor just we've now seen him struggle at 2 different spots. I don't think they've scored a point with him on the field. I don't know if they have the people in the building who can help. I just don't know. They're just not the O-line. I think that's where it all starts. They're just not the O-line they used to be. And one thing, like they used to, if they were up 2 touchdowns, or what was it at halftime? 24-6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18 points. It was the 3rd biggest lead at halftime under Nick Sirianni.
Wow. So last year they just run the ball in the second half, run the clock, wear down the other team, keep the sticks moving, and they would end up winning 35-12 or something. They can't do that this year because they can't run the ball. So they were calling passes in situations where it did make sense, and that was feeding right into Bowles' blitzes because he knew they weren't going to try to run anymore, and they did a little bit, but you can't run out the clock throwing the ball every down against Todd Bowles. You just can't do it. So that kind of let the Bucs back into the game, and it was hard. It was hard to watch this offense in the second half, and I don't think Jalen was great. I think the play calling was great. I don't think the O-line was great. Couldn't get the ball to AJ or Devontae. Yeah, it's the inability of this offense with these weapons to put together a 60-minute game, a complete game, is bewildering.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 and outs in the second half is what really made this a close game because
5 of them, right? They have 5 3 and outs and a 4 and out, and the last one would have been a 3 and out, and it was the punter took an intentional safety, but yeah.
Yeah, and my point is that, when you have 3 and outs, you're not even killing clock. Like you're right. I think their goal was to run the football, grind out some long drives, get out of here with an easy win, but they weren't able to do that. And I think situation dictated last week when the offense got aggressive and they were able to get big gainers through the air. But I think situation played a role in this second half too because they had a big lead. They thought, well, we can do what we've always done, sit on it, kill a lot of clock and shorten up this game, and they weren't able to do that. In fact, they actually made the game longer because of how many 3 and outs they had. They gave the Bucs way too many possessions, way too many chances to come back, and they almost pulled off the big comeback.
Yeah, and when you're 0 for 8 throwing the ball, that's 8 times the clock stopping because you're throwing incomplete. So I don't know what time of possession was in the second half, but 70-yard touchdowns tend to skew those stats. But yeah, it was kind of a perfect storm of the Bucs gaining confidence. The Eagles defense, I think, got a little bit gassed. I don't know what guys were saying in the locker room. They probably wouldn't admit that, but it seemed like, because they tackled so well in the first half and they did in the second half. So that leads you to believe the heat and the humidity and the conditions were getting to them because they started missing a lot of tackles. And when a team is down, and we saw it last week with the Eagles against the Rams, when you start making some plays, maybe you score that first touchdown, it gives you life. Now the other team's on their heels a little bit. They're starting to wonder, or they're starting to look at the clock. How much time do we have to kill before we get this thing? And that's a tough way to play. It's a tough way to win. Trying to, kind of waiting for the clock to run out. That's what the Rams did last week. They just kind of looking at the clock, waiting to see all zeros. You can't win that way.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is the Eagles defense was able to make the stops in key moments where the Rams last week weren't able to do that.
Yeah,
But you're right. And I like your point about the offensive line because that's probably where this all starts.
I
They're
think
not
so.
bad right now. They're still a good offensive line, but they have been the strength of this team for so long. And you just you just expect them to be
Yeah,
great all the time. And right now, they're not able to create holes in the run game like they normally do. I didn't think they were super leaky in pass protection. I'll have to rewatch that. That didn't seem like the biggest issue, but
yeah.
certainly in the run game, they're not getting the movement they would like. And I think that's a lot of where the second half in this game, particularly, kind of faltered.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's just not the same. It's not the same, and that happens. Um, circumstances change, guys change, guys deal with injuries. Landon Dickerson, I mean, I don't know if he would say he's 70%, 80%, but he's playing hurt. Lane, am I correct? Lane never came back in.
He did not shoulder injury. So this is now back to back weeks. At least they got to Fred Johnson right away in
Yeah.
this game.
Yeah. Well, they were keeping Pryor ready to play right guard, I guess. Um, yeah. And I mean, I don't know if there's anybody internally that can help.
No, you have
Um,
your five best out there.
yeah. Yeah. I agree. Um, I just think and you mentioned the defense in the second half. I just want to just highlight real quick 4 plays. Keeley had the pass breakup, which could have been a DPI, but it wasn't. And then I think it was Jalix and Jihad. I don't know who they credited the forced fumble to on Bucky Irvin.
Yeah, they
Uh,
initially credited Jihad Campbell. I think they flipped it to Jalen Hunt.
yeah, they were both in on the play. That was huge. And then, I mean, that set up their one score in the second half. And then, um, then they had the Harry Nickerson playing in his first game in 2 years makes a terrific play on a 4th and 10 or something. I don't know what it was, 4th and 9 on Sterling Shepard maybe. And then Jihad Campbell's pick in the end zone. So I mean, that's 4 like really. So you gave up a ton of yards in the second half, but they made some really clutch plays in key situations. And it was guys, Jihad Campbell's a rookie. I mean, he's playing his 4th game. Perry Nichols is playing his first game since October of 23 at the link for the Dolphins for Vic Fangio and makes that play at the end of the game. Guy who's been cut 15 times in his career. Just re-signed Wednesday to the 53. I thought it was a terrific defensive game, even though they gave up, 2 huge plays, 2 70-yard touchdowns. It's going to happen. Rookies. But they made the plays when they had to.
Yeah, I agree. Do you want to just talk defense now,
I
or
guess
did
I
you?
just started to do that, didn't I? Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Okay. Well. I mean, first let's go back. I don't want to leave the offense yet. Was there
Sure.
anything else that you wanted to hit there? Because I didn't want to jump ahead. Just quite,
No,
quite yet. I thought
I
they really handled the blitz well in the
yeah, I do
first
too.
half, and not as well in the second half.
Yeah.
But like in the first half, it looked like all their answers were there. The one answer we didn't see was like deep downfield shots in man coverage, but everything else looked like it was on time. Jalen looked in complete command of the offense.
Yeah, I thought it was one of Jalen's best halves, maybe followed by his worst second half. But yeah, I don't know what to make of Kevin Patullo. I know a lot of people are going to ask about him. We're going to get a lot of emails. I love the way he called the first half. I thought the 2 running the same play to Goddard, the old Westbrook play, Donovan to Westbrook shovel pass, and the fake tush push was a terrific call. Got a touchdown out of. That was like one of Saquon's best runs. I thought maybe just run that on every play. Just line up, tush push, and just flip it to Saquon. So I thought there was some really clever play design in the red zone. And are they still perfect in the red zone? I don't even know. But
Yeah, they are. They were 3 for 3 today, so they're now 11 for 11 in the red zone this year, which is a huge deal when you're playing close games.
yeah,
If you can trade a few touchdowns for field goals for the other team, I mean, you're going to win.
yeah, you're right. So I just don't know what happened. I just thought they kind of went back to the Kevin Patullo that we saw earlier in the year. That's kind of predictable. It seems like the other team knows what's coming. Just kind of lifeless. And Almost cost him.
It did. And to me, like we brought up the situation last week, being down 19. Jalen even mentioned like we had no choice. We had to go out there and change the offense. It felt like, and I brought it up already, but the situation in this game dictated the way they played too, and not for a good reason, right? Like they kind of turtled a little bit in that second half, and then it felt like it just snowballed on them a little
Yeah.
bit. They got a couple of 3-and-outs, and then all of a sudden, there's like it felt like the football field was tilted downwards, and they were just sliding back every time they got out there. That's what it felt like.
That's really good imagery. I like that. You just come up with that?
Yeah, didn't it feel like that?
Yeah, it did. It did. And usually when that happens, you don't win that game. I mean, when that momentum switches and early in the third quarter, you could just feel it. And they just now all of a sudden the Bucs were the team with all the confidence. The Eagles kind of looked like they were the ones looking at the clock, waiting for it to run out. Usually when that happens, you don't bounce back from that. That shows me a lot.
I agree. All right. Anything else offensively you want to hit? I agree with you. Those plays down at the goal line were really cool. Good
I do have
designs on them.
one other quick thing. I'm not averse to look, Saquon's your bell cow, and I mean he's the guy, but what did and I'm not saying AJ Dillon's the answer to all their problems with the running game, but he was what 3 for 17. He had an 11, which was longer than any of Saquon's runs. I just think like mixing up a back here and there, whether it's Shipley or Dillon or Tank, I don't care who it is. It can't hurt sometimes when one back is struggling. Like we saw it with I mean, Ricky Waters and Charlie Garner was different because they were like number one backs. We saw it with like Westbrook and Carell Buckhalter. I think that's a pretty good comparison. I always just wanted to mention Carell Buckhalter. He was one of my favorite players. But I don't think there's anything wrong with, and I don't think Saquon would, take it personally if you gave, AJ Dillon or Will Shipley 2 or 3 carries along the way to just kind of give the defense a different look and a guy with a different skill set coming at you a different way, maybe. And the fact that Dillon was 3 for 17, maybe I'm not saying bench Saquon. I'm just saying just mix it up a little bit. I don't think it'll hurt.
Yeah, in this game, it looked like Saquon got a little banged up. He looked
Stayed in the game.
He did leave briefly, and that was when AJ Dillon got a little bit of run, and then Saquon came back in and he looked healthy, I guess. But yeah, it is an interesting thought, and it is worth noting that AJ Dillon was the guy today, even though Will Shipley was back in the lineup. He was healthy. That oblique injury over. He was back on the field, but it was AJ Dillon still ahead of him. Don't know if that's injury related or conditioning related, or
Yeah.
if maybe they just like what AJ Dillon is providing the offense right now. But I noted that. I'm a little surprised that we didn't see more Will Shipley in this game over AJ Dillon, but that might be the way they go. It's a good thought to switch it up, because the other part of this is curious to see how defenses will play when Saquon's out there versus AJ Dillon or Will Shipley, because I think there's a much better chance the Eagles don't see the loaded boxes with those guys on the field as much as they do when Saquon's out there.
Yeah, probably true. I thought one thing Jalen did throw to Saquon a couple times early. What did he finish with? 4 for 31.
He lost 5 on one of them too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was an ugly play. Got away from that. I haven't looked at second half targets, but
he got away from throwing the ball at all.
Well, got away from throwing
Yeah.
and it seemed like it was just all trying to throw it to AJ in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with throwing to the backs and the tight ends. Like Calcaterra had a 16-yarder. Goddard had the 2 touchdowns, and he had a 22-yarder in there as well. I think it was the play just before Calcaterra's. I think they were back-to-back tight ends plays.
Yeah, because it looked like Dallas got a little banged up. He came off the field, and then Grant right on the very next play.
Yeah. And that's what I mean, like about the offense just became just trying to force it to AJ in the second half, as opposed to spreading it around to Dallas and Calcaterra. I don't want Calcaterra to get a ton of targets, but even Saquon, when he catches the ball, he's a weapon. I mean, if it's not happening in the running game with him, get him involved in the passing game.
Yeah, it's a little more surprising too that the Eagles weren't able to get their passing game going in the second half. The Bucs had a couple of injured corners. They were down to like their third string outside corner opposite of Zion McCollum. So you would think that you'd be able to figure out how to scheme it up and get that guy some one-on-ones and make life difficult on him. And it just didn't happen. AJ Brown, you're right. He got targeted in this game 9 times, had just 2 catches for 7 yards. Yeah, that's
And
not great.
How many of those 9 were in the second half? You have your halftime stats handy? Oh, here we go. So AJ was targeted 3 times in the first half. So 6 targets. So Jalen threw incomplete 8 times, and 6 of them were to AJ. That's what I mean by predictable. I mean, you just can't run your offense like that.
I get that. And I think there are better ways to run an offense. But if our biggest complaint is they're throwing the ball to AJ, I'll live with that. It just felt like he and Jalen were not on the same page a few times in this game. There were moments where I thought he looked open, and you might have to look at the high angle to see some of these, but like it was just off between the two of them in this game. And I don't really know why that was.
Yeah, I mean they've been playing together for 4 years now. You know, you would think they'd be beyond that. Did AJ talk post game?
He did not. Yeah, did not see him after the game.
It's a little worrisome because there's a guy, you said 1,400 yards a season. Yeah, I mean, and he's disappointed when he has 1,400 yards. So, you know, look, they're 4-0, and you don't want to become a problem, but there's no way AJ's happy right now. Same with Devontae. I mean, Devontae won't say anything, but
yeah, Devontae didn't have the targets that AJ had. He had 2 targets, 2 catches for 29 yards. That one 20-yarder, he took a heck of a hit on the tail end of that catch, bounced right back up, tougher than I am. I'd be dead. But yeah, not the workload for him that you'd like to see either.
Yeah, I mean, they're just too talented to put up these kind of numbers. I mean, they're probably not on pace for 1,000 yards combined.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like everything is relative within the expectations, and the expectations are high because of how much talent they have on offense. And it's just such a weird back-to-back games here for the Eagles. Like tail of 2 halves, the inverse of each other.
Yeah.
Just really strange. I don't know what to make of it. I don't understand how you can be so good in back-to-back halves and then end up just like being completely lost on offense in the second half of this game.
I don't understand it either. Does it remind you at all of just want to make sure I get this right. Does it remind you at all of week 2 and 3 of 1989 when they had the big comeback at RFK against Washington in week 2, won 42-37, and then they had a big lead, I think 28-10 over the 49ers a week later, and Joe Montana threw 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it does. I remember in my crib, I was like, how is this happening?
Oh, you're back in the crib watching?
Yeah.
Literally
in the crib.
But yeah, I mean, the parallels are crazy because, I mean, they won both games this time, but they came back from 20 points down to beat Washington at RFK in week 2. And then a week later, they were up 28-20. Well, the biggest lead in that game was 21-10, but it was in the middle of the fourth quarter, 28-17 later. And Joe threw 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter against the Eagles. That's what it reminded me of. But that was 26 years ago. But I'm sure there's a lot of Eagles fans who are like, man, this is just like an 89.
More than 26 years ago.
36 years ago. I'm not a mathematician.
I was about to say, I'm not that young.
But I just think there's something. This team just finds ways to win. And we said that in 2023, and it caught up with them. You know, they're going to have, I just believe they're going to have to play better at some point, but they've navigated a really, really tough part of the schedule. I mean, you start out with your biggest division rival, then the AFC champions, a team that beat you in a Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and then 2 perennial playoff teams that were both undefeated. And you got out of that 4-0. I mean, that was a minefield of a schedule. I think we looked at it and we're like, if they can get out of that 3-1, they're in great shape. Now the schedule gets a little easier.
Mhm.
You think? You don't know, but
I'm glad you brought up 23 because I think the
I was gonna
vibe.
say you brought up 89.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think the vibe of the team is significantly different now than it was in 23 because that 23 team coming off the loss in the Super Bowl just had all this extra pressure on it. And they weren't, we remember the big talking points that year. Like they weren't enjoying the wins. They knew it was all going to crumble at some point, and sure enough, it did. I don't get the same feeling from this locker room. This locker room is more like, hey, we're a good team. We're winning these games. Like, do we have stuff to clean up? Like, absolutely. Obviously, there are a lot of things to clean up, but we'd rather do it in wins. And I don't think that's just like them learning from the 2023 season. I think it's just the circumstance that they're in this year compared to that season. And I think they know that they have what it takes to get it corrected this time. So I don't sense the same sort of angst that we got in 2023.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I would agree with that. So you're saying Coach Matty Patricia won't be coming to the rescue like week 11? I think actually, you know, I mean, when you have Vic Fangio, you're really confident that you're gonna find a way on defense. I'm not sure about offense. Um, I just don't know what to make of Kevin Patullo. We've seen some good, we've seen a lot more bad. And again, it's not just him. I think it's a combination of Jalen and Kevin. Either, we talked so much during the summer about them being on the same page, and yeah, I just don't know. There's a breakdown somewhere, and I don't know if it's Jalen or Kevin too. I've certainly seen Jalen have a lot more big games without Kevin Patullo than the reverse. But there's something that's just off.
Yeah, on offense, I think the hope has to be that their talent eventually wins out and they're able to figure it out. On defense, I think you're right. Like they're going to keep getting better. They have a lot of young players, and they have Vic Fangio, who I thought called another really good game. So let's take a break, and then when we come back, let's get into that defense and talk some special teams and coaching.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
We are back on Eagle Eye Podcast, brought to you by Nissan, Reuben Frank, and Dave Zangaro. Rube, let's talk about the defense a little bit. Two bad plays in that second half, long touchdowns, a touchdown, what was it, 77 yards and 72 yards.
Only the fifth time they've allowed two 70-yard touchdown passes in the same game.
Okay. These are actually the two longest since Vic Fangio took over as defensive coordinator. Not great. They count big plays in a game. You don't want to see that happen, but I thought aside from that, they played really well on defense.
Yeah, I did too. I thought they got a little gassed in the second half. Fourth quarter, we saw some missed tackles that we weren't seeing. I thought they tackled great in the first half. I mean, Cooper was Zach Ball, Blankenship, Quignon. They all were playing at an extremely high level. Quignon and Zach Ball, I thought, had incredible games. But yeah, look, you had a rookie in coverage, a rookie linebacker in coverage, and you have a rookie safety who kind of let the ball go through his hands. I don't think Makuba saw it. And they'll get better, and it won't happen again. I don't think. This is the price you pay for starting two rookies, but they're both. We've seen them both make big plays this year as well. So, and Jihad today. So, you're going to have that when you play two guys who are 22, 23 years old and haven't played football before.
Yeah, and the thing I really liked about Jihad Campbell, it was funny in the locker room. Zach Bond is talking about the importance of, not getting down on yourself when you give up a big play. And then we talked to Jihad, and he was like, "Oh, no, I wasn't too worried about it. Like it happened, but I know I'm better than that." Which is, he's a rookie, but he doesn't act like it. He's so confident. He knows he belongs in this league, and he acted like a veteran because everyone gives up plays, but it's about how you react to it. And I think with a lot of rookies, you worry about them dwelling on it. I don't get the sense Jihad even thought about dwelling on one bad play.
Yeah, that's a great point. He's the way he carries himself, and we saw it like as early as the draft, and or when he came in, I guess the next day. Um, Something special about that kid, and I mean, he's going to be. I don't know if he'll be an All Pro, but I'd be surprised if he's not a Pro Bowler at some point in his career. He makes plays. He's tough. He's smart. He's instinctive. He's physical, and the ball's going to keep finding him. I mean, this is just a start.
Yeah. So you brought up those 4 plays earlier. I think that's really the best way to do this because they gave up some yards here and there, but when they needed stops,
Yeah.
they got them. We can start with that Jihad one because we're already talking about him. The ball kind of got deflected to him. There was great pressure by Jalen Carter, who played through an injury in this game. He's that shoulder injury is not going away, by the way. That's something he's going to deal with. But it was actually very funny. I'm sidetracking now. Sorry to do this, but he was like begging to get back in that football game. There was one point he even ran on the field, and they told him to come back off. He wanted to be out there, and you want to see that from him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like he's going to get some sort of penalty, like 15-yarder every week. He's going to get fined.
He was very eager to tell us that he was asked about penalties today and said, "Usually it's me. Today it wasn't me."
Yeah, I mean, I love everything about his game when he's on the field. Well, I guess the spitting thing happened on the field, but it wasn't during a play. Um, that injury might just hold him back all year. He's not the player he was last year as far as production, but man, like there's certain plays where he's just unstoppable. I thought he had some really good pressures. Um, I think on the sack, was it Moro Ojima had a sack? I think he had a stunt on that play that kind of flushed. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you stop him. I mean, one of the two was going to get the sack. Yeah, he's a stud. And I love his attitude. He loves playing the game. I love listening to him post game. You were there for that, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got so much spirit and so much just joy for the game. He said, I'd rather win than lose and have 6 sacks, or I'd rather win and have no sacks than lose and have 6 sacks. I believe it. I really do. I just think he loves playing football.
And one of these things, he's going to catch a spike.
He was close again.
He got close again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to make that play.
If there's one player, like I've seen a few other guys try it, I think one day he's going to make that play.
Yeah, I do too. I might make that my bold prediction next week. Now that Will Shipley let me down today. Okay,
so let's talk a little bit about the other stops. That forced fumble was big. Turnovers. They gave it to Jalix eventually, but him and Jihad, either one of them could have been given that. And Jihad said, like, it was a big emphasis before he came to Philly, but now it's like peanut punch all the time. Try to get the football out. And we see it from this entire defense. And it's not like they're the only team that does that. Like every team in the league is trying to force turnovers, but we've also covered this team long enough to see when you overemphasize it and you get out of your fundamentals going for the football. And this team is able to go for the football without losing their fundamentals, and they still wrap up, they still tackle well, they still get square. There's an art in that I don't think should go unspoken.
Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, other than Zach Bond chasing Miles down, other than that, yeah, they're all the forced fumbles have been in the context of making the tackle. And when you have guys making forceful tackles, you're at an advantage. The defender's at an advantage, and the offensive players just trying to hang on to the ball. Yeah, they're good at it. I think they had 2 takeaways today. Do they have 5 in 4 games? I think they had 1 each in the first 3 games. I feel like that number is going to go up. I just think this is a kind of defense that's going to, I think they're going to have some games with maybe 3 or 4 takeaways, maybe against a young quarterback. I just think they're there. I think the plays are there.
Yeah, and a turnover on downs, I know it doesn't technically go down as a takeaway, but they kind of view them similarly. You still get off the field, you still get your offense the football back, and they've gotten a few of those already. And that one in this game was huge. You had Baker Mayfield being a magician, getting out of danger. he's rolling. You have Jordan Davis chasing him down, another Jordan Davis chasing down a quarterback play, and then Keely Ringo comes up with the pass breakup in a start that we probably didn't anticipate in week 4 coming into this season.
No, we certainly did it. Maybe before training camp we anticipated it, but not like this. And he had some ups and downs, but I thought he played hard and he made some plays. I think did he recover the no, I guess he didn't. But yeah, it was the first time he's played in a long time. Um, I still think they need to be better there. But he hung in.
Yeah, if you're surprised that he wasn't targeted more, so was he.
Yeah.
Like coming into this game, you just figured, okay, they're basically on their third string outside cornerback. The guy on the other side is exceptional, and they had Quinyon Mitchell really traveling with Emeka Ibuka today, and he was incredible on him. I have the next gen stat numbers in front of me. On 6 targets with Quinyon on Ibuka, 2 receptions for 6 yards on 22 matchups.
That's incredible. And that kid's good.
He's good, and Q was all over him in this game.
Q is incredible. I mean, I don't even know like who to compare him to as a cornerback. He's so sticky. He's so smart. He's physical. He's tough. I mean, he doesn't mind coming up and playing the run. When he tackles a guy, that guy stays tackled. Like he's just such a good tackler. And I mean, how often do you see a guy separate from him? You just don't see it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. We've had some good cornerbacks that we've covered. From Asante and Slay, at his best was really, really good. I covered Troy Vincent. I covered Eric Allen, who's now in the Hall of Fame. This team's had some good corners over the years. I mean, Lito and Sheldon. I don't even. I guess maybe he reminds me of Sheldon the most, just because Sheldon had that physical element as well. Yeah, I don't know how he doesn't have any interceptions in the regular season, but they're going to come because he's just he is one of the better cornerbacks in the league, even though he doesn't have the numbers and stats to show it.
A little feisty today too. He was mixing it up.
Yeah, he
John
was.
with Tristan Wirfs, so I'm not sure that's the guy I would tell him to go after. But yeah, it was a little feisty in this game.
Yeah, things got a little heated.
You brought up Quinyon being a good tackler. In general, I thought the cornerbacks early in this game were all tackling very well, and that made a huge difference.
Yeah, it did. It did. And you look at the Parry Nickerson stop. I mean, that's a cornerback making a form tackle on 4th down and keeping a guy. I think it was Kate Otten, maybe keeping him from the sticks after a completed pass. This guy hasn't played in 2 years. Yeah, I thought everybody tackled well. I thought Zach Ball and Cooper DeJean, even Reed tackled well. I thought the whole team did early, and then he just got a little. I think they got a little gassed after that.
Yeah,
did guys say it bothered them at all, or they were affected by it?
They're not going to say that. I think it was kind of unspoken that you're and look, the offense didn't do them any favors. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Like part of the complementary football is staying on the field so that your defense can catch their breath. It was like old Chip Kelly days. The defense just out there for an entire half. If you're able to do what you need to do offensively, I don't think the defense looks gassed in that second half.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Cooper DeJean played well early. You cannot AI step over someone in this NFL. You're going to get called for that.
Yeah, and I hate the taunting rule, but you have to understand that they're going to emphasize it, and it's there, and just walk away, make the play, and walk away. And
yeah, if you celebrate toward the stands, toward your teammates.
Yeah,
it's going to hurt them. Like it already has hurt them, and they've escaped with wins. But it's something that you just can't keep having these penalties like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, it's like you can't look at a guy. I mean, it's the dumbest thing.
I think it's dumb too, but you gotta do whatever Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever the refs are calling, you got to know it. You can't afford 15-yard penalties, especially when the defense is playing well. Like, don't give them extra breaks.
And the fact that you're taunting means you just made a big play. So you
Mhm.
got to stop. You got maybe a loss, tackle for loss, a sack, and you do that, and you're giving the team a first down. 15 yards, by the way, is too much. I think maybe it should be a 5-yard penalty, but this is what the NFL is emphasizing.
Yeah. So in this game, obviously no Nolan Smith. He's out for at least 4 weeks, most likely 5 weeks through the bye. He was here, by the way, traveled with the
Oh, was
team.
he?
Without him, they had Jalix Hunt starting. They had Darius Smith starting. After that, Josh Uche. We saw some Obo Okoronkwo and then some Patrick Johnson. Azeez Ojulari was inactive. Obo went down in this game, a triceps injury. I don't know whatever's going on in that building. A lot of triceps injuries coming out of it. So maybe next week is Azeez Ojulari. I didn't love it. They didn't get a ton of pressure off the edge in this game.
No, they didn't. And I mean, there have been times where they didn't get sacks, but you felt good about their pressure.
I thought a defense as a whole, they got some good pressure on Baker. It felt like a lot of it came up the gut. I'll have to
Yeah.
rewatch, but that was
Well,
my
and their
initial.
interior O-line is pretty bad, so you kind of thought that might happen.
Well, you have a backup right tackle in there too.
That's true. They got half a sack this year from the edge, and that's a 33-year-old guy who just got here. It's concerning, and I mean, they faced some really good quarterbacks. I thought they were, I thought there were so many opportunities, like 4 or 5 opportunities to get sacks today, where they were close. They had Baker penned in, and then maybe they lost their gap integrity, or he just made a move on somebody, or they just physically were too gassed to chase him down. I thought they had a lot of chances to get sacks.
This is an interesting number. Pressure rate on Baker Mayfield in this game way high. Like he was getting pressured, 40.9%. That is a crazy high pressure rate. They didn't bring him down very much.
Yeah.
You'd like to see them bring him down, but the pressure did lead to some big plays, especially on that interception by Campbell that's set up by a pressure. You get the Ojimo sack. There were big plays, but off the edge in particular, I don't think they got quite enough in this game.
Yeah, Bond had the other sack early. He played great
A strip
again.
sack, by the way, because Baker kind of coughed up that ball and recovered it.
Yeah. Did Perry Nickerson technically get credit for a forced fumble? It didn't matter because it was 4th down, but it looked like
No,
he
did
got
not.
robbed. Okay.
I did talk to Perry Nickerson after the game. Just a cool story. The guy hasn't played in a game since 2023, and he only got 2 defensive snaps in this game, and they came at the very end of the game. So it's a cool story, and he played his role when he needed to.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a guy who's been cut 15 times in his career. He's bounced around, like you said, he hadn't played since 23 October, almost 2 years exactly. It was early October at the Link for the Dolphins for Vic Fangio. Gosh, he's been with the Packers. He's been with like 5 teams. I loved his attitude in camp. I thought he had a good training camp, and then he didn't make final cuts, or cuts. And brought him back on the practice squad, I think, right away. And then he just got signed to the 53 on Wednesday with all those moves that they made. I had a good talk with him earlier in training camp just about his career. And, he's at an age where he says, when I get cut, I don't know if I'm getting another chance. I'm 30. I'm a 30-year-old cornerback. It's like he said he asked himself every time when he got cut, like later in his career, is this it? Am I going to get another chance? I just don't know. And, one thing about the Eagles that I really like, and I think this is a Howie thing, they're very patient with players. Like Jordan Davis is a great example. Look, they weren't going to cut him, but they're patient with players. Like Keely's an example, a guy who had a bad training camp. They don't cut guys like that. They try to coach him up and make productive players out of him, and he's still better than signing somebody off the street. Perry Nickerson's a great example of that. There's a few guys on this team like that who other teams have given up on. I mean, Tyler Steen's an example, a guy that got beat out for right guard 2 years ago and last year. Stuck with him, and he's a right guard now. I think it's important to. And Nick talked the other day about everybody has a different path to the NFL and to being a productive contributor. Some guys like Jahad Campbell happens immediately, but for other guys, but if you see something in a player, keep them, develop them, and nurture his talent. And I think they do really well with that.
Yeah, especially if you have the developmental staff that you think can do it.
Yeah,
It's one thing to have a talented player and no one to develop them. They don't feel like that's the case here.
yeah. And
Uh,
Byron Young's another example of that.
sure. You want to talk special teams a little bit?
Sure.
Uh, Obviously, we'll start with the big blocked punt, Cam Latu, and he's been close. He was really close in the KC game a couple of times, and then he finally breaks through. I was talking to Braden Mann after the game, and he's like, "We saw it on scout team early in the year before he was playing that like this guy can definitely get pressure on a punter." So he did not seem surprised that Latu finally got the one.
Yeah, it was a huge play, and it was like 3 straight opposing kicks that they blocked, because they blocked the 2 field goals, and then this game opened with that was their first kick. Obviously, kickoffs don't count. You're not going to block a kickoff, but it was 3 straight field goals or punts that they blocked, 2 for touchdowns. The great Jason Stark, who's like the greatest baseball stat guy ever. He texted me after that play and said, "Has any team ever had 2 blocked kick touchdowns without running a play in between?" And he says, "There's no way to look it up, but I guarantee it's never happened." So I'm going with Jason on that. But Michael Clay has these guys finding ways to do it, and 3 block kicks, 2 for touchdowns in 2 games is and look, these are big plays. I mean, final score was a touchdown, 31-25, 31-23. It's 2 games in a row that they've won in large part because of blocking kicks.
When you and Jason text each other, is it just numbers flying back and forth?
No, we use words as well.
Okay.
Sorry.
Aside from the Latu play, nice scoop by Sidney Brown
Yeah,
and nice return from him. But Braden Mann's playing really well. I mean, he is a weapon right now.
he is. He gave up a long return, maybe 2 long returns. One on a punt, right? I think 42.
Yeah, interesting to note. No Keely Ringo as a gunner in this game.
Yeah,
So
they missed him.
they missed him. Mac McWilliams did have a nice trip up, like from the seat of his pants, I think, to save what might have been a touchdown. But they miss Keely when he's not on special teams, when he has to play defense.
Yeah, and I was wondering if he might be, because he's younger and he's a guy that maybe the weather had something to do with it. Some guys still play some snaps.
Gunner's a tough snap, though. You're
It
running the
is.
whole length of the field full speed.
It is. Yeah, so that kind of makes sense. I give Michael Clay so much credit. I mean, it wasn't perfect today on special teams, but this is a guy that several years ago I thought I wrote it. I thought Nick need a new special teams coach. I mean, they were really bad. I think that one year they finished last in Rick Gosselin's special teams rankings, and then they just started moving up and up and up. And he's really made himself one hell of a special teams coach. And they're good in just about every phase. And I think he really look, if you can get Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis to really buy in and take special teams seriously and want to be a part of it, that says a lot about Michael Clay.
Yeah, totally agree. Looking at Braden Mann in this game, 7 punts for 363 yards, a long of 63, 2 downed inside the 20.
And how many times did he punt in the first half? Like 1?
I can
It doesn't
find
matter. Don't worry about it.
once.
It was once. Yeah.
Yeah. He got a lot of work in the second half.
He's the best punter in Eagles history.
We should mention not an Eagles player, but Chase McLaughlin. I mean, what the heck? That guy hit a 58-yarder and a 65-yarder.
Yeah, second longest field goal in history, I believe.
And the longest outdoor.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and there was no doubt about it. It would have been good from 130.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what a weapon that guy is. And that's
Yeah.
part of the thing. It's like, I don't know if this is good to have like a team get to midfield and be able to kick field goals.
Yeah, I know. We might have to do a podcast topic on options to make it tougher to kick field goals.
That's
I mean,
another thing I'm looking forward to reading the emails. I wonder if it'll be the inverse of last week where we had people panicking at halftime. I wonder if this week we'll have like
Oh,
really confident people
I
at
think
halftime.
I think what we had last week is a lot more common.
Yeah, we get more emails when things aren't going well as
Right,
opposed to when they
right.
are.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see if there's some like gloating about, Raymond James isn't a house of horrors anymore and
I'm
Eagles are
guessing no.
cruising.
I'm guessing no, but we'll see.
We'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
I think that's just about all I had. Anything else on your mind?
No, no. I think I think well, this isn't a final yet, so I don't want to say anything, but the Jags are up 12 on the 49ers in Santa Clara. And I believe the 49ers are the only other undefeated team in the NFC. I
Oh,
think.
okay. Yeah.
Um, so that's not a final, but they're up 12. The Bills, who's undefeated? The Bills, the Colts. Colts are playing right now also, right? I shouldn't even say scores because it'll be over by the time. So that's a close game. But yeah, I believe they're the Niners and the Eagles are the only undefeateds. Am I wrong about that? Who else could be undefeated? Washington lost again. Eagles are 2 games up in the division,
Hmm.
which is big.
But here come the Giants.
Here come the Giants improving to 1-3. How did Jackson Dart play? I didn't really look at
Yeah, I
box
didn't. I
score.
didn't get to really see it.
Well,
I think Malik Neighbors got hurt though, right?
oh, really?
Yeah.
He's their offense. But Eagles are in a great place. 4-0 after 4 games. Not a lot of Super Bowl teams start like this. It speaks volumes about Nick, about the leadership on the team. No matter what it looks like to get to 4-0, coming off a Super Bowl, when you have that bullseye on your back and they're getting every team's best, and they've navigated through it to 4-0. It's impressive.
It is. All right. Well, that's all we have. Great Bananas Foster in the Buccaneers press box. I
Really?
want to give a shout out. That was
Okay.
my halftime treat. Very good. Yeah, like it down here. It's nice. It's really hot though. It was. I mean, we were on the field pregame, and it was sweltering. So I think they handled it better than they did last year. I think it was probably a little bit hotter week for last year. I know the Bucs are making fun of them for coming down a day early.
So is
I think,
Vic. So
yeah, you're
was Vic
right. So
Fangio.
I think but hey, if it worked even a little tiny bit, or it gave them a mental edge, I guess it was worth it.
Did you get any grouper while you're down there?
No grouper. Had a Cuban. It was good.
Okay.
I went and got some shark teeth yesterday at the beach. That was fun.
Okay.
Drove down to Venice Beach. Venice Beach? Venice, Florida? Not Venice Beach.
That's in California.
Venice, Florida, Casperson Beach. It was fun. Good day.
Chris Gasperson, remember him? Eagles receiver.
Different
Well, have
guy.
safe trip back, and yeah, see you back home.
All right, sounds good. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, please do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button, subscribe there as well. Send us an email if you haven't already from that game, eagleeye at nbcuni.com. QR code's on the screen. You can hit pause and scan that QR code, send us a question that way. But that's all for today. For Reuben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye, presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.